we have built a scientific model based on pulling everything apart, making it separate. And by separating everything, we can understand every individual component. And we've kind of got this Lego set, the Lego set that allows us to explore the material world, the materialistic, reductionistic perspective that Western medicine, Western science has created. Except human biology is not based on reductionistic perspectives. It's based on a holistic perspective. So how can we put all the little pieces back together again and understand the holism that's associated with a human being, and understanding well-being not from each individual component, but from the spaces in between the components? I know that's a very strange paradox to put forward, but if we consider the four forces within the atom, the strong force, the electromagnetic force, the weak force, and the gravitational force, if we integrate those with an inertial frame of reference of the singularity within each atom, and that inertial frame of reference is 1 over c squared, corresponding to mu naught epsilon naught, then we have a framework in which we have a way of exploring how atoms are actually created. So if we can understand how an atom is created, then we can understand how a quantum coherent system can operate in a biological being, not from the perspective of reductionistic viewpoint, but from the perspective of this inertial frame of reference, the reference of the singularity. And because we've got a way of correcting the atomic model with the cosmological model, we've been able to view a atomic system that's in alignment with cosmology. The current standard model of particle physics does not allow one to explore this relationship, the relationship between an atom and the cosmos. And Dirac put forward some interesting large numbers corresponding to hydrogen, corresponding to our functional understanding of the universe. And I'm proposing that if we really look closely to the fundamentals of what hydrogen conveys within our own biology, then we can see the universe through the lens of hydrogen. And how we do that is to really step back from the materialistic perspective and explore a new model. And the model is a supersymmetry inversion model. It's a logic-based model. It's an empirical model. It has numbers in it, has mathematics in it. The mathematics and the numbers identify the key parameters of the universe that we live in, but it is done through the lens of hydrogen, lens of the singularity and the inverted singularity. So I'm working on a model, a scientific framework that shifts the atomic structure so that it realigns with the cosmological composition of the universe. And in doing so, I've changed quark charge calculations. I've changed them to allow me to see the missing antimatter in the atomic structure, which is hidden in the neutron. Allow me to see a rearrangement of the atomic structure that provides a mirrored symmetry, a monoatomic based system that's coordinated to our neurotransmitters, and the role that hydrogen plays as the quantum element entering into the Faraday cage of the aromatic ring of our neurotransmitter. and the half-life timing of the isotope generated, giving the decay time and velocity based on the binding kinetics, corresponding to a kilojoules per mole energy distance relationship that provides vision. Vision within, vision through an atomic hydrogen quantum tunneling system that generates isotopes. So the science has moved on from solid matter physics, from the diatomic models, from the idea of an atom just comprising of a neutron, a proton, and an electron. Now we have a model that integrates the four forces: the electromagnetic, the strong, the weak, gravitational. It has a singularity within it. It has, in essence, an event horizon, the boundary between the atomic layers, orbitals, and the inner nucleus of the atom. So there's a new framework which we can use to explore the atomic landscape. I am building that landscape model at present, and that model is able to provide context for a relationship between C and nanometers through inversion. So the inverted square law model that photon decay provides, as well as gravity, as well as Coulomb's charge interaction, those frameworks are all consistent with single atom physics. So this new supersymmetry inversion model that I've been developing allows one to understand how the universe is created through hydrogen. The singularity system that's operating in human biology, that's part of vision, from the n=2 Balmer line transitions giving visible wavelengths of light. It allows our ability to explore the relationship of hydrogen in the flow of quantum tunneling and entanglement through water onto an amine, indopamine, going from NH2 to NH3+. And that atomic cross system in the Paschen line, N=3, an infrared wavelength of 820 nanometers, allowing the transfer of hydrogen through the photon of light into a Faraday cage system, which is an isolated quantum system that houses single atoms, stored light memory system. The isotope decays based on its half-life. The half-life timing releases light to give vision, the photon that correlates to a wavelength based on a velocity, based on timing. So it is a space-timed expansionary photon model correlating to the light memory system operating outside of the neuron. I know that's a mouthful and a very difficult conceptual framework to get your head around. You have to find the stepping stones to allow you to explore single atoms. And to do so, you really need to unlock time itself. So time in an isotope is based on its half-life, and the binding kinetics converted into kilojoules per mole gives you a velocity release in meters per second. That's biologically relevant. This new science of supersymmetry inversion, unified field theory based on singularity physics, we've shifted away from fractions and adding. We're using whole numbers, boson type probabilities rather than fermions. In these single atom systems, there's a boundary between light and atomics. And that's been identified through a cross-based inverted symmetry in single atom systems housed in these aromatic rings in the Faraday cage system. So the time reversal symmetry is what the conscious mind's requiring in order to integrate the experience of reality. What we're really seeing in deja vu is the light going into the atom and then coming back out again. So we get to experience it twice. So the experience that we're having is a little bit like the replication of DNA in the reverse strand of the Okazaki fragment, right? It's having to kind of jump on and jump off, jump on and jump off, and produce the other component or other section of DNA in the reverse orientation. And so the experience of reality is actually operating in reverse. So the isotope decay timing correlates to the release of light that you're observing. And it's delayed and it's in the past. So the conscious mind experience is delayed. The conscious mind experience is in the past. The unconscious mind is what is responding to the current environment. And there's a delay to the experience, to the user, to the one who is in the environment. So fight, flight, freeze operates faster than the conscious experience of reality. And when you cross that boundary between the past and you get to see the future, you would say, well, that is not able to be proven. Well, there is a very simple explanation for a prophetic vision that they have told us about in the past and what's spoken about what's going to come. And it really comes down to understanding time reversal symmetry and single atom systems in that isotope high energy physics system operating outside of the conscious mind. And when you explore negative time dilation, the expansion of the universe from the singularity to begin with, the He-BEC singularity model provides a framework in order to understand the expansion of space at 9.97 times faster than the speed of light due to alpha particle emission. The science model we have grounded in reductionist materialistic perspective is wrong. It's wrong because it can't be reconciled with cosmology and the composition of the universe. Now we have a new model. Are you going to do the old thing and stick with the old model? Or are you actually going to put down tools and learn something new that will allow you to step away from the past and move into the future? And that's what quantum biology offers, a new framework for biology, a new framework for understanding the high energy physics that is responsible for the unconscious part of the human mind. That's a challenging time for us all. And I would say, do you have the tools to shift away from materialism, shift away from the old thinking, and taking the time to integrate the new knowledge that's coming forward and the opportunity that presents. If you're grounded in materialism and you're stuck in materialism and you want to look elsewhere for solutions, quantum technologies has some of those, but also I'm starting a regenerative kind of healthcare solution that will support people in being able to understand the shift in perception and understanding, the shift in viewpoint that comes from being able to understand the time reversal symmetry operating in the unconscious part of the human mind. And I'm also starting a quantum biology research institute in order to help people learn this new science, the science of singularity at the beginning of time. No Big Bang, but a supersymmetry inversion event where gravitation is understood from an inward implosive force from the original singularity He-BEC, isotropic universe, a homogeneous universe that can be explored through boson statistics, where everything is at the grounded state in a form, a liquid helium quantum fluid. So the science is new, the science is revolutionary, the science is fundamental to understanding human biology, not from the perspective of the Lego bricks, but from the integration of the four fundamental forces. The inertial frame of the singularity within each atom, and then the isotope timing, half-life, binding kinetic velocity system operating as a light-mediated biofield system, a code of light operating in single atoms that acts like a radio station, a way of tuning a human being through the physics of light that's operating in the electromagnetic field of atoms. So this is a science shift, a paradigm shift. It's not going to be something that most people will be able to get their heads around. But eventually, with the right pieces of the puzzle, one can start again from the new perspective and actually learn how your body is operating through high energy physics, not from a matter-based perspective. And that gives the holistic perspective, the quantum coherent perspective of human biology. That's what we're missing. That's what we're missing in health and well-being. That's what we're missing in Western society. That's what we're missing currently. Don't miss out on the opportunity to change. There's a way forward. If you're not willing to take it, you'll be left behind. So peace be with you.